All right, I'm back. Yeah, hopefully you had to take off for a second over the holidays. You got a chance to detox and like eat some good food. I know I love macaroni and cheese. So I gained 3 to 5, maybe 15 pounds over the past couple of days, but I'm getting back into it now. And I'm sure I'll start working out in the new year, probably, like many of you. If you're just joining us, my name is Hassan Riggs, founder CEO at Smart Alto. Make sure you hit that little button um, that says something along the lines of Ecamm Live wants to see who you are. So if you click that button right above this post, then I'll be able to see your name because I see some people saying that they're here, but I don't actually know who you are because I can't see you. I can't see your name. So just let me know you're here. Let me know if you can hear me okay. Um, and because I'm excited to chat with you, excited to kind of dive in today. So over the past weeks, we've really been on this journey, right? We've been talking about the psychology of business, the psychology of marketing, and a lot of what we've been talking about is you understanding the fundamental building blocks of how to create really effective ads, how to create really effective copy, how to create really effective just marketing in general. Because one of the things is that when you become a business owner, when you become a real estate agent, you have since become a business owner. And what they teach you in real estate school is how to do real estate transactions, which is important, but they don't tell you how to generate leads, how to qualify leads, how to follow up with leads, how to convert deals. And so we really focus on our time together. We've really been focusing on some of those fundamental building blocks that you don't actually get when you get your real estate license. They tell you to go work your sphere, send out text messages, emails, postcards, send calendars to people, all of that old school stuff that, yeah, maybe it worked a long time ago, but it doesn't work in today's day and age. And maybe even if it does work from time to time, it's a really inefficient way to go about running your business. It's extremely inefficient. And so what we've been talking about are the fundamental building blocks that you need in order to truly understand how to build a big business. Hey, what's going on, buddy? Uh, Move that camera up, man. I need to see. You can't see my face? What do you mean? You can't see my face? Let me see. You can see my face. I can see my face. Um, so yeah, what we've been talking about is just really the fundamental building blocks of how to get to grow a really big business. And so one of the first things that we talked about a couple of weeks ago is the psychology that goes into moving people from 0 to 1, the psychology that gets people to choose you over and above someone else, the psychology that gets people to prefer you over and above someone else. We talked about that in part one of the best Facebook ads analyzed. And then we took a little detour from that, and I talked about some of the fundamental formulas, the simple real estate formulas that you need in order to build a big business. We talked a little about the relationship between teaching speed and we talked about what I like to call E math. E stands for emotional intelligence. You need the emotional intelligence to know what to say, when to say it, how to say it in order to convert a new home buyer into a converted 15-minute phone appointment. But then you need math or you need numbers. You need enough leads to have enough swings at the ball so that you can actually build a predictable and consistent business. Because if you don't know, if I ask you the question, how much money are you going to make next month, and you don't know, it's because your business isn't predictable and consistent. And so one of the things that we help you out with a bunch is just trying to understand how to make your business more predictable, more consistent, more repeatable. Because if you don't have a predictable, consistent business, then you really don't have a business that you can bank on, right? And so we talked a little bit about that. We also talked about how life, relationships, marketing is all built on micro commitments. How you fundamentally need to understand how life, how relationships, how marketing, how everything we do is built on micro commitments. You need people to make a small commit to you. And here's why. We all grew up in the US, and you know what we were taught? Our parents taught us, don't give up, be consistent, be dependable, never quit, follow through, run finish line, be reliable, be logical, be dependable. We were all taught those fundamental values as kids growing up in in the US or the developed world. We were all taught that. It's a part of our DNA. So therefore, when we make a decision, when we make a commitment to someone or something, it's a part of our DNA to try to be consistent with that commitment. Our job then is to understand we can allow someone to make the smallest commitment to us possible. Folks don't wake up in the morning and say, how can I be unreliable, not dependable, not trustworthy, not logical, unpredictable, unexpected? People don't grow up thinking that. They grow up thinking the exact opposite. How can I be dependable? How be someone you can rely on? How can I make sure I follow through? And so once we get someone to commit to us, even if it's a really small commitment, they are more likely to keep that commitment than to do anything else. Because if they don't, their psychology in their brain is something that's pulling at them that's saying, oh my goodness, I didn't follow through. I didn't keep my commitment. I was unpredictable. I did something unexpected. It's outside of my character. And so we talked about how to get people to make those small micro commitments to you. We're going to talk a little bit about that today as well. Hey, Richard, what's going on, buddy? Thanks for answering my email so quickly. No problem, man. I appreciate you reaching out to me. It was great to chat with you through email, and I'm glad to see that you were able to join the Facebook Live today. Glad to see. So today, what are we talking about today? This is part two of the best Facebook ads analyzed, and what we're going to talk about specifically are we're going to dive in a little bit more on micro commitments. We're going to talk about the number one thing that your marketing needs to do, and if your marketing isn't doing this, then you're missing the boat, right? So overall, at the end of this, you'll have the fundamental building blocks to build a full-fledged marketing strategy to generate leads, to work with our um, to kind of understand those fundamental building blocks that you need to grow your business and put together a marketing strategy at a high level. Um, and it's going to be super helpful for you because what we do at Smart Altos, we help you follow up with all the leads that you generate, right? I'm going to take a moment to share me. I can you see me, you can hear me. Slideshow, play from the start. Let's see. Just unable that to get back into the talk to my friends, do a quick Facebook Live. We start sharing. Cancel. See you and from the okay. So if you would do me a favor, just comment in the chat box if you can actually see my screen and you can hear me okay, because I can't see you, but hopefully you can see and you can hear me. And we're gonna dive through and jump right in. And so a couple of weeks ago, again, we talked about building your brand through digital marketing. Again, my name is Hassan Riggs, founder, CEO at Smart Alto. We talked about um, if you're not changing and evolving with the world, then quite literally I got two words for you, Radio Shack, because the world is changing and you need to evolve and change and adapt because all the great people, they evolve, they change, they adapt, they learn, they evolve, they change, they adapt, they learn, they evolve, they change, they adapt, they learn, they grow. And that's a really important thing for you to do as well. And part of this, you can think about this as continuing education. We talked about how the sale is made when the relationship is built and how you need to go about actually moving people from transactional to relational. How can you move people from transactional to relational through your digital marketing? Talked about the goal, of marketing, of a marketing strategy, is to consistently and predictably move people through deeper phases of the client agent relationship. And today we're going to talk about what those phases of the client agent relationship are. But first, we started off with the six ways to scientifically, the six most proven ways to scientifically influence people and move them from zero to one, right? And get them to do business with you, to prefer you. We talked a little bit about authority and how people respect authority figures, teachers, doctors, lawyers, politicians. Well, maybe not so much politicians, but teachers, doctors, lawyers, police officers. We're all taught to respect our authority figures. And so, today, we're going to share some examples of how people in this Facebook group, if you're watching me now, then you're in the Real Estate Marketing Mastermind Facebook group, or if you're watching this at a later time, pre-recorded somewhere else on our YouTube channels or my Facebook page, then you have to join the Real Estate Marketing Mastermind Facebook group in order to watch this presentation live and comment and have me respond to your questions in real time. And so we talked a little bit about authority and how you can then position yourself to be an authority figure. And I asked you to think about, are you an authority figure in your market? Are you an authority figure? If so, why? How do you know? If you're not, don't worry, because I'm going to show you how you can start doing that through Facebook ads. We talked a little bit about social proof and how before people make a decision, they take a look around, they see what everyone else is doing, and then they make that same decision. That's why your Zillow reviews, your Google reviews, your Facebook reviews are so important to your business because people make decisions in groups, not just me or you or someone else, but we all are conditioned to make decisions in groups. We take a look around, see what everyone else is doing, and then we say, wow, have you ever heard this? Safety in numbers. Safety in numbers. If 500 other people have done business with Monica Cook, hey, how you doing, Monica? If 500 other people have done business with Monica Cook, she must be a great agent. Why would I go shop around looking for all these other agents when I have Monica right here, who's obviously really good at what she does? How do I know that? Because 500 other people have said so. How do you become an authority figure in your market? How do you show that social proof in your market? We're going to talk a little bit about that. About that. Hey, Susan, how are you doing? One thing that I did mention is you don't need to make a sale before you ask someone for a review. You don't need to make a sale. You don't need a closed transaction before you ask someone for a review. Why is that true? Because most of the value that you provide to people is done before the deal closes anyway. Again, most of the value that you provide to people is done before the transaction closes. So why would you wait until the transaction closes before you ask someone to evaluate how you're doing? That's all you're doing with a review. You're asking people to evaluate how you're doing. People can give you multiple reviews. They can give you multiple reviews on different aspects of the transaction, different aspects of your business. We talked a little bit about commitment and consistency. Again, I've said this time and time again. Life, relationships, marketing, they're all built on micro commitments. How can you get people to make a small commitment to you and then they're more likely to keep that commitment? Because you got to think, before people do business with you, they got at least three choices to make. They're going to do business with you, they're going to do business with someone else, or they're going to make the most common decision that people make, and that's to do nothing. To do nothing, to not make a decision at all, to kick the can down the road, to procrastinate. Again, we're talking about the six most scientifically proven ways to move people to zero to one and get people to take action. So you gotta make life about these micro commitments and you got to get people to make the small commitments towards you. We're going to show you how to do this in your marketing. Life is about relationships and relationships are built on micro commitments. We talked a little bit about reciprocity, and this is where that all famous list of home ads comes from. When you do something for someone, they are more likely to reciprocate, right? So, it's the holiday season, and I know me and my wife are going to go to a million holiday parties. Her name is Ashley. She works for the FBI. I'm here in the Washington, D.C. area. I spend about 6 to 7 months of the year in Washington, D.C., and I spend about 4 or 5 months of the year at our headquarters, which is in Birmingham, Alabama, and then I spend 2 to 3 months of the year, traveling, going to NAR. I spoke at NAR this year, so if you were at NAR, hopefully you had a chance to pop by my presentation and check me out. I spoke at NAR, spoke at Inman, so I do a lot of traveling. We have engineers across the country and in Europe, so I travel to Europe quite a bit, and and why am I sharing that? Oh, because we're talking about reciprocity, and so we're going to a lot of holidays, parties this year. And when Ashley and I, when we go to these holiday parties, when people invite us to their house, what are we going to take? We're going to take something. They've done something nice for us. We're going to return the favor. We're going to do something nice for them even if we don't really, really like those people, they invite us, we're probably going to go. We're going to take something because reciprocity is going to kick into play. How many of you out there understand the impact and the power of reciprocity? I would love for you to share some ideas of reciprocity and how you've used that in your day-to-day life. If someone has ever given you a gift, what do you feel like? Oh, I should probably reciprocate. You've probably done this for your clients. This is where the old list of homes ad comes into play. One of the things that we talked about is what you ask for, what you ask for can be more than what you give. What you ask for can be more than what you gave. So it doesn't have to be in direct proportion. You can ask for something big after having given them something small. So don't think that it has to be in the same proportional size because it doesn't. And then we also talked about liking. This is more than just like being friends with people, but it is true you need to find those commonalities, that shared interest. What do you like that the other person also likes? What do you have in what are the commonalities? What's your affinity groups? I told you about one of our clients in Smart Alto he's a pilot and he has a Facebook group with 2 to 300 local people from the community in that Facebook group all around his county. And what do they talk about? Aviation. It's about aviation enthusiasts. It's about people who love flying. He takes his clients out on planes. He talks about aviation with them. They also know he's a real estate agent. He's building community with these people that know like and trust factor because we all know that people do things for those they like. But one of the best ways to get people to like you more is to actually to teach them something they don't know or they don't fully appreciate. And so you have to figure out like this is more than just being the type of person who's willing to go grab a beer with someone. Yeah, that's a part of it, but we all have these human needs. I'm gonna take a little detour right now um, because I think this is just really important. We all have human needs, the six human needs, not something that it's not just something that we want, it's not just something that we desire, but it's actually a human need in order to to feel fulfilled in life, in order to feel like you're getting the most out of life, you need to have these needs met. It's a mandate. It's not just something that you want. It's not just something that you desire. It's something that's fundamental to your DNA. You need to have these six human needs met. Uncertainty, uncertainty, certainty. So, a different way to say those two, the number one is spontaneity, unexpectedness in your life. You need a sense of unexpectedness in your life to keep things fresh, to keep things kind of moving and going. Number two, you need certainty, you need security. You need to make sure that there are certain parts of your life that are really important to you that are secure. That's a need, right? It's not just something that you want, you have a need to be secure. Love. You need to feel love or connected to people. You need to feel love or connected to people. But if you feel connected to too many people all the time, then you lose significance. You need to feel unique enough to where there's a sense of significance about your life, that you're not just like everyone else, but you provide something unique and valuable to the world. Growth. You need to feel that you're growing, that you're learning, that you're expanding. Because if you're not growing, then you're dying, because in life we're never stagnating. You're either growing or you're dying. You're either living or you're dying. You're either going up or you're going down. You're never just stagnating. And then finally is contribution. That's why the people who become really successful, they become philanthropists. They give, they give, they give. They give their money, they give their time, they give their energy, they give their resources, because those are six human needs that we all have. How does this relate to marketing and what we're talking about? Well, the people who you are closest with in your life are not just people who you like to hang out with, but they're also people who you grow with, who you learn things from. And so the people who you learn things from, they become close to you because they've taught you something new. They've met one of your basic human needs. Has anyone ever heard that before? I'm wondering, Richard, have you ever heard that before? Author Susan, have you ever heard that before? Those six human needs that I just went over, and think about how those six human needs play into your marketing efforts. Then we talked about scarcity. Let me take a break. Let me drink some water. And we talked about scarcity and how you can build scarcity into your marketing to get results. And so now we're going to talk about the 7 steps to a marketing strategy, and here's where the bulk of the presentation is going to be today. So make sure you get out your pen, your paper, take down notes on this. I will make this presentation available. I may make this presentation available. I don't know if I will or not. I may make this presentation available to folks afterwards. But if you have any questions as I'm going along, feel free to put it in the comment section, and I'll be sure to say hello and answer your questions. Okay, so this is what most people are doing in their marketing. This is what most agents are doing. So let me take a step back. When I when I first met Ashley, we met in Los Olas Boulevard. It's down in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I did not walk up to her and say, "Would you marry me today?" I didn't do that. I didn't walk up to her and say, "I would love to marry you. Can we go elope?" Because why? That's weird. It's not natural. It's really awkward and kind of creepy, actually. Well, that's what most agents are doing in their marketing. Every day, most of the marketing and the advertising that people are doing are saying, "Hey, would you marry me today?" What you're saying is, I, I only known each other for a full week, but no, we've only known each other for a week, but I just picked out my wedding dress. Can you marry me today? Would you marry me today? You're being that really creepy girl or guy who's overly aggressive, and you don't understand the importance and the need to having micro commitments to take people through a natural progression of building a relationship with you, because you build relationships online the same way you build relationships offline, because the sale is made when the relationship is built. You build relationships online the same way you build relationships offline, right? Because the sale is made when the relationship is built. And so this may seem really funny to you, right? Kind of show this image a lot and kind of laugh about it and joke about it, and people think it's funny, but it's true. When you run your marketing campaigns and you're asking people who don't know you to have a listing appointment with you, to allow them to allow you to sell their home, someone who they don't know, to sell their home, the largest transaction they'll ever have in their life, you're being a little creepy. They don't know you, they don't like you, they don't trust you, but you're asking them to sleep with you. You're asking them for a one night stand. And yeah, sometimes one night stands work, right? Sometimes one night stands work, but it's not the natural way to build a relationship with folks. It's not the natural, normal way to go about building long lasting, healthy relationships with people. It's just not, because you build relationships online the same way you do offline. And so, what we're going to talk about here are the 7 steps to creating healthy relationships with people through marketing. Remember what our goal is. Our goal is to move people through deeper phases of the client agent relationship. What are those phases of the client agent relationship? It's the glance, the gaze, the digits, going steady, ring shopping, the marriage, and the couple's family vacation. And what I'm going to share with you is not only what these steps are, but also how these play within your marketing. And then we're going to lay on top of this the six most influential and scientifically proven ways to move people from zero to one. So I'm going to show you examples of Facebook ads, but also how they relate to the six most scientifically proven ways to move people from zero to one to get buyers and sellers to choose you over and above everyone else within these seven stages. So again, the seven stages are the glance. The glance. This is really about how you introduce yourself to people. This is truly about how you introduce yourself to people online. When you meet someone for the first time, how do you do that? How do you get people to become aware of you, to notice you the very first time? So they'd have no idea who Monica Cook is. No idea. How do you introduce yourself to people online? How do you make them aware of you? One idea that you can do, one idea for a Facebook ad, for an Instagram ad, for a Google ad is people click on a Facebook ad driving them to a video of you interviewing business owners or a blog update or a blog post or a market update. The purpose of this is not to generate the lead. The purpose of this is just to get people to what? Become aware of you. Because if your marketing, the number one thing that you need in your marketing, if your marketing isn't starting more conversations with buyers and sellers, then you're missing the human element in your marketing. Remember what the goal is. The goal is to create a marketing strategy that starts conversations with buyers and sellers and predictably and consistently moves them through deeper phases of the client agent relationship. And so you need to start conversations with people. Initially, though, you're just trying to introduce yourself to folks. And so the very first ad that you could run to people that allows you to pixel them and then later retarget those folks, is folks can click a Facebook ad driving them to a video of you interviewing local business owners. Right? This is how Susie Morrison does it. I don't know if Susie is out there today, but Susie is a Smart Alto client, um, and she runs a lot of different types of ads. I know she works with William at the Social Agent. If you're not a member of the Social Agent Facebook group, be sure to go check that out because my buddy William, he's great at training people how to generate online leads using Facebook marketing, Facebook advertising. Has more than 30,000 people in that group, the social agent, and he's trained over 17,000 people. You can go in there and see the reviews of his training. So I know Susie works with William at the social agent with that. She also runs some of her own ads. Here's one that she posted. You can go to her Facebook page and you can see this now, I believe. And it's Susie running an ad where she interviewed a local business owner. It's a fantastic interview. It's magnificent, where the goal is simply to introduce herself. This is the glance. She's just making people aware of who she is. It's the glance. She's getting people to glance at her for the very first time. She hasn't kept their attention, but they're just glancing at her, right? You've caught eye contact with that beautiful love interest, that man, that woman who you are interested in. You've caught eye contact with them for the first time. What else is this doing? It's positioning her in the market. Remember when we talked about the six most powerful and scientific ways to influence people and move them from zero to one? We talked about authority, social proof, commitment and consistency, reciprocity, liking, scarcity. We talked about those things. What does this do for Susie? It positions her as an authority figure in the market. She's interviewing local business owners about a cause that she cares about. So by interviewing local business owners, if you're a business owner in the local market, then yeah, you can position yourself as an authority figure. It also plays into liking. She's quite literally eating a dog treat. She's eating dog food in this video. It's a great video. You need to go look at it. She's eating dog food in this video. It's magnificently done, and it allows people to see her personality. She's a very professional but fun-loving person. I love Susie to death. And she's great. And this is a wonderful ad that shows you how she's positioning herself. Here's another one where she's giving a market update. Again, this is a Facebook ad where the goal is simply to introduce herself to the market. That's all she's doing. This plays into authority for the market update. It plays into reciprocity. It plays into liking, right? Plays into liking. Reciprocity because she's sharing information to people that's helpful for them. As an experienced real estate broker here in Vancouver, I'm always getting asked what is happening in the real estate market. She says it right there in the ad. She's always getting asked what's happening in the real estate market. So let me just tell you what's happening in the real estate market. This is beautifully done. Again, the goal of this is not to get a lead right now. The goal is simply to introduce yourself to the market. So that's the glance, how you introduce yourself. Next is the gaze. The gaze. One idea that you can implement around the gaze is people can join your Facebook group. What is the gaze? The gaze is how do you keep people's attention? The glance is how do you get people's attention? The gaze is how do you keep people's attention? How do you keep them engaged? Well, right now, I run and manage a Facebook group of 3,500 folks, 3,500 real estate professionals all around the US and Canada and really all around the world. It's people in this group from Pakistan, it's people in this group from India, it's people in this group from the UK, it's people in this group from Australia, it's people in this group from Canada, from Mexico, from the US, many states around the US. What are we doing? This is how people really get to know more about me, about Smart Alto, and about marketing. This is how we keep people's attention. You could do the same thing. I'm a big Alabama football fan. I went to the University of Alabama undergrad. Mm. I went to the University of Alabama undergrad. I went to Columbia graduate school. So I went to some fancy schools. And you don't need a fancy degree to do any of this stuff. I wonder, I'm just curious, could you put in the comments, could you let me know how many of you believe that a college degree is worth it? Like, considering where you are today in your career, do you think your college degree was worth it? Why or why not? I'm just interested. Let me know. So, the gaze, how do you keep people's attention? One idea. And so, here's how Edward does it. Here's how Edward does it. Um, Edward, he is a Smart Alto client. We qualify, follow up, and set appointments for. See some of because I see some comments down here. Give me a let me see. Um, Shalom said a college degree is not worth it. Chris, you said it's not worth it. Richard, you said it is worth it. Tell me, I want to hear the people who say no. I want to hear why you say it's not worth it. And Richard, I'm wondering why do you say it is worth it? Um, I'm really interested in that as I have a lot of things to think about here over the next couple of weeks with folks I'm mentoring and stuff like that. So I'm just trying to get some different perspectives and opinions on it. So I would really appreciate if you would just let me know why you think it's worth it or why not. So with Ed, how does he keep people's attention? Well, he loves sparring. And he's in the Real Estate Marketing Mastermind Facebook group. You can see him. You can go to his Facebook page. He loves sparring and MMA. He's based out of Chicago. He's doing a great job. He's a renter's agent right now, going into real estate sales. He's making that transition, and Smart Alto is helping him do it. And so he does a lot of vlogs, a lot of video blogs. And this keeps people's attention because people love MMA. They love seeing fights. They love to see violence. They love seeing sparring, but it also lets us take a peek behind his personality, and that's liking. So think about how can you run Facebook ads that keep people's attention? What's something in your personality that you can portray that's going to keep people coming back wanting more and more? This is how Steve Jolly does it. This is how Steve does it. Steve, who he's also a Smart Alto client, the mastermind group. He he's a great and sophisticated marketer. Let me go back one. Here we go. He's a really smart marketer, um, and he has written a blog post about how Nashville survived the last three recessions. He took that blog post, turned it into a PDF, and made a case study. You could take this and you could tweet about this, you could make Facebook post about this, you do a webinar series about this, you could create videos about this, you could do a podcast about this. You can take this content and then break it down into micro content. You could make it break it down into micro content to again keep people's attention. And think about the topic on this, right? How Nashville survived the last three recessions. And in this, he talks about, well, in this, it builds him up as an authority figure. And he's also giving them some valuable information around reciprocity. So think about how you can continuously keep people engaged through Facebook. So Richard said, my degree got me into USAF pilot training. Very cool. Into active duty. Thank you so much for your service. I appreciate that, Richard. I saw the flag behind you. I wasn't sure. Thank you so much for your service. Truly appreciate that. I'm sure we all do here. An active duty and eventually into a huge VA real estate market through expansive relationship markets in my area around several military bases. Got it. Makes sense. Got it. So um, that's all about the relationship based upon your degree help you take a step that maybe you otherwise would not have been able to take that help you build a community and a network that ultimately helps you grow your business today. Got it. So Chris said, no one in my family is working with their degree, traits, and skills are more marketable and employable. Got it. And then Shalom says, I learned from I learned more from work experience and networking. All the degree has given me is debt. You didn't learn anything else. All it's giving you is debt. Wow. Wow. That's a pretty strong statement. All it's giving you is debt. um, so this is how Nashville survived the last three recessions. So again, this is how Steve Jolly goes about keeping people's attention. Next, the digits. The digits. It's about how do you get people's information. So now you've introduced yourself to them, you have kept their attention, and now you need to ultimately get people's information. And how do you go about getting someone's information? Well, one idea that I've listed here is to people can click a list of homes on Facebook in exchange for their contact information. Click a list of homes Facebook ad in exchange for their contact information. Right? This is built on what? What marketing principle is this built upon? Reciprocity. Reciprocity. Because ultimately, when I met Ashley, if I wanted to follow up with her at a later time, I needed to get her name, telephone number, right? I needed to ask for the digits. I needed to get the information from her so that I could follow up with her and call her later on. This is where that list of homes Facebook ad comes from. That reciprocity. Remember, I do something nice for you. Don't worry about searching all around San Diego County looking for the single story homes with HOA dues less than $500. I've compiled a list of the best single story homes with HOA dues less than $500. All you gotta do is click this link. Right? So I'm saving you time, I'm saving you stress, I'm saving you hassle. All you gotta do is click this link, and I'm going to give you the 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 list of homes so that you can see the homes that you are most interested in. That's where that comes from. All you got to do is give me your name, telephone number, and email address so that I can customize and curate this list for you. Again, commitment and consistency, liking. So think about how you can use list of homes in your marketing in order to generate more qualified buyers and sellers. Most people start with the list of homes ad. It's nothing wrong with that to promoting this to cold traffic, but think about how more effective it is if you're remarketing list of homes to people who've already watched one of your videos, gone to read one of your blog posts. Some of the very best customers of Smart Alto are people who read my articles on Forbes. I write for Forbes. My goal next year is to write for Fast Company or write for Inc. Magazine. Because of that, I'm going to ask that you please review me on Google, because one of the things I want to do is before I submit my first article, when I get my article to Fast Company and Inc., what are the editors going to do? They're going to go Google me. They're going to look me up. They're going to go to my Google page, my blog, my website. They're going to see this stuff. And I want to have a really strong social presence, and so I'm going to ask that if you find any of this content helpful, if you think it's valuable to you, to review me on Google. I would really and truly appreciate that. It will go a long way to A, helping me know that you value the content that I'm sharing here, and then B, help me reach one of my goals, and ultimately I'm helping you reach one of yours. So if you will be interested in doing that, then please let me know, and I'll share a link after this where you could just write like literally one or two sentences on Google and give me 5 stars on Google to help boost my profile through Google. Um, hey, thanks, Chris. Yes, I did see that you gave me a review, man. I appreciate it quite a bit, man. Thank you so much. Very helpful, extremely helpful. Means a lot, Chris. Thank you a bunch, man. So going steady. So we've talked about the glance, we've talked about the gaze, we've talked about the digits, the glance, how do you get someone, how do you introduce yourself? The gaze, how do you keep someone's attention? The digits, how do you get someone's information? Going steady, how do you get these people to make small commitments to you? Going steady is all about the commitment phase, getting people to make small commitments to you. How about you start a text message conversation that ultimately leads to a phone call and a buyer's consultation? And so um, like when you think about this logically, when is the last time you submitted your information somewhere, or you responded to someone who just randomly picked up the phone and called you, who you don't know, you don't like, you don't trust, and then they sold you something? It rarely happens. Does it happen? Yes, it does. Has it happened? Yes, it has. But it rarely happens. Most people today are walking around with a cell phone in their hand. 90% of the traffic that Facebook gets is through mobile. Most people are using their mobile phones to text, to chat. They're not using their phones to call. And so the preferred channel of communication is through text message. Why not lean in on that? And so when a new lead comes through, you text message those people to get them to start a conversation with you. I'm gonna give you a couple of numbers for those of you who like numbers. When I was an ISA and I did circle prospecting, we would close 1 to 1.5% of the people I spoke to on the phone. So for every 100 people I spoke to on the phone, we would close one deal. I had to call eight, 900, 1,000, 1,200 people sometimes to actually have a meaningful conversation with 100 of them, because people don't answer the phones the way they used to. People don't want to be bothered with a phone call. You're interrupting their day. People want to respond to you on their terms. So why not send them a text message? If you are getting at least a 10% response rate through text message, you're absolutely blowing phone calls out of the water. You're blowing phone calls out of the water. Many of Smart Alto's clients are getting a response rate of 35, 45, 50% through text messaging. Now, not all of those people are saying, yeah, I want to set an appointment with you right now. Some people are saying, yes, I want to set an appointment with you right now. Other people are saying later. Other people are saying, no, screw off. But at least now you figured that out in 2 seconds as opposed to 30 minutes of picking up the phone, calling all of these people, wondering why no one is responding to any of your telephone calls. So going steady is about getting people to make commitments to you. But then you need to know what to say, when to say it, how to say it to move the conversation along and get to an appointment. One of the most common things if you're in the real estate marketing mastermind group, one of the things that you had to do when you came into the group is answer three questions. Where are you getting leads from? What's your biggest challenge with follow up? And if you wanted a text message template sheet or something like that, right? Um, and what that's saying is what the reason we ask you those questions is trying to just kind of understand a little bit who you are and what your challenges are. The number one challenge that people say is that people are not responding to my phone calls, right? 3% even doing 25. So Richard said over 30 years, average conversion rate of leads to close transactions average 3%, even when doing 25 million a month. Look at that. Richard, I'm wondering, is that all in the VA space? And what area are you in, by the way? What part of the country? I don't know. Maybe are you in Hughes area? And I'm really excited that you know your numbers too. And where are those leads coming from? Are those circle prospecting? Is it inbound leads? Seattle area. That's a nice market. Um, I've never been to Seattle. I have a couple of friends, three friends who live in Seattle. They all love it. And Susie is like in and around that area, right? She's in um, Vancouver. So she's in like northwestern part of the United States. So and the reason I say this is because most of our clients, they're really good once they get on the phone with people because they have really high EQ, emotional intelligence. IQ gets you good grades. That's intellect. IQ is intellect. EQ can make you wealthy because EQ is about how do you deal with people. That's what EQ is about. Emotional intelligence and life is about relationships. It's about micro commitments and building relationships with people. So how do you know what to say, when to say it, how to say it to build better relationships with people? The folks who I know who've not just gotten rich through real estate, but have built wealth through real estate are the folks who quite literally they are great at taking people from transactional to relational. They can move people from transactional to relational. You sit down, you have a conversation with them, you feel like you've been knowing them for years because they're great at the people aspect of real estate. So this is one of the ways that you can move and have micro commitments to folks, right? So when the lead comes through, why not send them a text message to follow up with those leads to give them a telephone call? This is one of our clients, Nick Benedict. He's raving about Smart Alto because the lead came through. We followed up that lead with a text message within 2 minutes. Ultimately, we ended up setting an appointment. It's about commitment and consistency. What's the smallest commitment that you can get people to make to you? Because once they make that small commitment, they're more likely to keep it. They're more likely to keep that commitment once people make it to you. And once they start a conversation, they're more likely than any to keep having a conversation with you. And this is just an added benefit for joining this Facebook Live today that I'm giving you the a text message script that we're using right now at Smart Alto for I would say 65% of our clients have some type of text message script like this. And so ultimately I'm going to end up giving you this presentation. You will be able to see this text message script. So Smart Alto qualifies leads for you through text message. And we follow up with leads within 2 minutes, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. But if you don't want Smart Alto to do that for you, you still need a text message marketing game plan. And what this is are the text message scripts that we've tested, that we've used in order to get people to respond to us through text message, and quite literally set at this stage tens of thousands of real estate appointments for with buyers and sellers all around the U.S. and Canada. So next is ring shopping. This is where you get people excited about doing business with you, right? This is where it's like, think about this as pillow talk, right? So you're going steady, you made a commitment, and now the relationship is getting pretty serious, and you're starting to really dive in and hone in and say, hey, you know what, let's go ring shopping. You're talking about that over pillow talk. So this is where you're sending that curated list of homes to people. And here's an example of what a list of homes email can look like going through mobile, because again, most people are looking at your emails through mobile on their mobile phones. And so you need to make sure that whatever service provider that you have that's pulling from your IDX, it's really good through mobile. It's fantastic at mobile and gives a really good mobile experience. That's where reciprocity comes into play. And you see right here, it's saying a price change. So scarcity is coming into play. Let me know in the comment section which service provider, what CRM do you have that sends out emails for you? Would love to know that. Next is the marriage. So you've gone ring shopping, and now we're talking about the marriage. This you can remind homeowners about warranties, maintenance, repairs. This is one of my, I'm gonna have to go on a tangent here for a little second because, my mom told me when I was young, she said people are great at getting a job, but they're awful. They're awful at getting promoted. What she was trying to share is that people can be great in a 15-minute interview, but then over the long haul, when it takes consistency, people don't often get promoted because now you know what you're dealing with. You realize that, hey, this person isn't as good as I thought they were. They're better in the interview than they are in real life. And part of that is there are more people who get married than people who renew their vows because it's a lot harder to maintain a relationship than it is to start a relationship. And so there are more people who get married than those who renew their vows. And so the real work starts in marriage after you get married. So let me ask you this and just have a real honest heart to heart here. How many of you are actively managing the client relationship where you're reminding your homeowners about their warranties, their repairs? You're educating them continuously on the market, how the value of their home is increasing or decreasing, what's happening. How many of you are actively doing that? Probably not so many. Here's an email that I got from Chris telling me my water heater is about to expire. He sent this through a 35-second bomb video, extremely personalized, coming directly to us, right? So he's he's sending this and building a stronger relationship, managing the customer relationship. It's building in authority, reciprocity, scarcity. Again, it's not just about getting a lead, converting leads, closing deals. It's not a funnel, but it's more of a circle. It's a continuing relationship. Think about, one of my favorite Broadway shows is The Lion King, where Mustafa and Simba talk about the circle of life, right? So think about this as the circle of the client agent relationship. It's not a funnel, but it's more of a circle. People are great at buying homes, but they're awful at managing them. And part of your job is to help people manage their home because no one is best suited to help someone manage their home than the person who sold it to them. Automotive shops do a great job at this. They're always following up with me, telling me I need to come in and get my car serviced. Why? It's a revenue generating opportunity for them, but it's also something where they know more about managing and maintaining cars than I do. So we've talked a little bit about the gaze, the glance, the digits, going steady, ring shopping, the marriage, and now the couple's family vacation. This is where you can encourage homeowners to continually give you reviews through Google, through Zillow, and share referrals. Right. So one of our clients quite literally has more than 500 Google reviews. Maybe Google isn't the place for you, but you have to ask yourself, where are people finding out about you? Where are they finding out about you? Is it Google? Is it Zillow? Is it Facebook? Where are your buyers and sellers hanging out? Wherever they're hanging out, that's where your reviews need to be. This hits on social proof, it hits on authority. Um, Again, we talked about the glance, we talked about the gaze, we talked about um, the digits, going steady, ring shopping, the marriage, and the couple's family vacation, because these are the 7 steps to building, not just getting leads, right? We're not just talking about getting leads. Anybody can get you leads. We're not just talking about getting leads. We're talking about building strong, long lasting marketing strategies that start conversations with buyers and sellers and predictably and consistently moves them through deeper phases of the client agent relationship. Right? Predictably and consistently moving them through deeper phases of the client agent relationship. Um, Again, my name is Hassan Riggs. I am the more Alto. Stop sharing my screen now. Let me see. All right, Cam Live. Let's see. So, was that helpful for you? Hopefully, you did. Man, we went about an hour. We went almost like a full an hour. I didn't think it was going to be that long. Let me know if you found this video helpful to you in any way. I would appreciate the feedback. We spent about an hour talking about a lot of stuff to make this presentation available to you in the Real Estate Marketing Mastermind Facebook group, so you can go back. You don't have to worry about taking a bunch of notes. You can go back. You can see the notes. You can see the presentation. See everything that's been shared here. And I appreciate you sticking with me for a while, because I know it was quite a lot, right? We talked a little bit. Um, we started everything off talking about 6 most scientifically proven ways to influence and sell them, from the one to influence them, to get them to move and do business with you, to prefer you over and above everyone else. Then we talked about the 7 steps to a marketing strategy, and not just how to generate leads, but how to build stronger relationships with people so you can start more questions and move people through deeper phases of the client agent relationship. We talked about the glance, the gaze, the digits, going steady, ring shopping, the marriage, and the couple's family vacation, where people the couple's family vacation is really about what people like you so much they want to bring their entire family along. They want other people. They want to share the good news. And that's where the choir goes out and evangelize beyond the walls of the church, if you'll follow my like religious analogy there, right? So the question for you is, how are you going about building stronger, valuable relationships with people and starting more conversations through digital marketing? Let me know if you have any questions. Would love to answer them for you. I'll be here for a couple of more moments to see if anyone has any. And while you're thinking of any questions, I'm going to take a drink of water, and I'm going to say, out for you to help me reach one of my goals. As I mentioned, next year I want to write for Fast Company or Inc. And to do that, I want to increase my profile on Google specifically. And so I'm asking if you found this presentation valuable in any way, to simply review me on Google. I'll share a link with you. It's actually quite literally, it's not reviewing Smart Alto, it's reviewing me, right? It's reviewing me and the content that you have received. So hopefully you come, you you consume, but you also contribute. And that's what I'm asking for you to come, consume, and also contribute. So I will appreciate if you will share your thought with me and share a review. So it doesn't seem like we questions, but I'm going to pop into the Facebook group now to see if anyone wants to ask any questions, and then I'll put that link in there so that you could, if you would be so kind to review me on Google, I appreciate it. Again, my name is Hassan Riggs, founder, CEO at Smart Alto, contributor for Forbes. I'm a speaker at NAR and Inman, and I'm also a former inside sales agent. So maybe that's helpful for you to know. Look forward to chatting with you soon and seeing you on the other side.